Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abair, and this is where I share my insights, and today I'm reflecting on the importance of knowing what you want. And I'm not talking about superficial, impulsive desires like a Rolex or a Mercedes. I'm talking about getting in touch with deeper desires that are linked to your joy, happiness, and crafting the life you really want. It takes self-reflection to understand what you want, silence and solitude. So I want to talk to you about some of my successes in crafting a life that matched my desires. Stick around. I'm sitting in my backyard, which is one of my favorite activities. And I had a very good conversation with a friend of mine on the phone today who is discerning some future change in his life. And I find myself in the conversation always redirecting his attention to what do you want? And he kept deflecting that question by what was being offered. And they're offering this, and they have this and this. And I'm like, well, Kevin, what do you want? How would you design it? And he had a hard time kind of articulating exactly what he wanted in this particular situation. And I recently had a conversation with another person who flat out asked me, Ryan, how do you know what you enjoy and what you want to do? And I guess I hate to think that I'm one of these weird people or rare people that have always been in touch with my desires at a very fundamental level. And in piecing together my life, I realized that the things that I wanted were impossible. They didn't exist. Like particular career choices that I wanted, the jobs that I was qualified for and wanted didn't seem to be out there. And I had professors, music professors, that said, well, you can't get a job like this, or you didn't have the right training. And something came along, but it almost felt like the Red Sea parted for me because I was so desirous of this kind of job. One of those examples was after my master's degree, I was told by one of my professors that I was not experienced enough to get a college teaching job at 24 years old. And I didn't have the right degrees for the kind of job that I was looking for. So I wanted this particular job, but my training didn't seem to align. And he kept telling me, Ryan, you need to do this, and I was supposed to have gone in this other direction. But I couldn't not want what I wanted. My desires were so enthusiastic. I was so enthusiastic about doing this particular kind of job. I couldn't listen to my graduate professor. My desire to craft a job like that superseded all of the other people that were telling me, no, you can't do that. Well, one thing led to another, and this domino effect happened, and this job came available very late in the season, but it was made possible by a connection. And I went down there, and it was exactly what I was looking for. The search committee hired me on the spot, literally. I remember the lady, I can't think of her name, in Human Resources, she said, we don't normally do this, but we want to offer you the job now. And they hadn't even finished interviewing people. So it was like this magical thing that seemed to give way to my desires. And I saw this happen so many times in my life. I guess what I'm saying to you, my friends, is that I have been in touch with my desires. And I'm so fascinated with how reality conformed to my desires. And it's very much like the story of Moses. It just felt like the Red Sea opened. The the potential wasn't there. In three very distinct examples, like the one I just showed you, this happened for me. The job seemed to open up for me. The wormhole of possibilities seemed to be closed by everybody else's standards. But my desire kept saying, do this. This is what you want. Is this what you want? Yes, this is what I want. And my desire opened a possibility for me. That's happened 3 times in my life. And what's interesting about that phenomena is that when I left that job for whatever other desirous thing, I wanted to go to graduate school, I wanted to do a doctorate, so I left that first job. The job that I left changed. The door closed again. I couldn't have gone back because they changed the job. It was attached to some other skill that I didn't have. That happened twice. So my old job became a part-time job. So it almost seemed as though it was open for me, designed for me, and when I left, it was closed and changed for me. It almost felt like hand in glove. And I didn't realize that until just now, that my enthusiasm and my desire for what I wanted to do created a job. And I had another graduate professor who was able to do that. Like he crafted a dream job. It was amazing. And he told us, he said, folks, you create your own job. And I never really understood that until I realized I did that. I created my own job, but not only that, I created my own reality. So your desire is not something like, let me just select this off of a menu. You can't look at somebody else's life and try to copy it. Sorry, the dog is behind me. She likes to chase lizards. You can't look at somebody else's life and copy it. You can't select from a list of things. Your desire is deep within you. And that's what I want to point to people. And if you don't know what you want, you know what you attract? You attract a vague life. Like a life that feels like you're compromising. If you're not sure what you want, you're going to get a life that's doesn't feel sure. Doesn't feel like it fits you. And your desire, not just for material possessions, but your desire to do it, to become that, no matter what. Even if nobody's ever done it, or you don't have the right credentials, or you're not connected to the right people, you don't have the right resources. I want you to know that the love for what you do opens doors. That sounds so Pollyanna. I know people think that's bullshit, but it's true. If I reverse engineer my life and try to figure out how I was able to get these opportunities that seem so befitting, custom, hand in glove, it's just because I loved what I desired. And I didn't listen to anything outside of myself. I just kept listening to what I wanted. And you get good at that. I guess I'm good at it. And if you're not good at creating a life that you want, doing something that you want and that you enjoy and that you're enthusiastic about, think about all the things you may have done where you've chosen something from a list. I know somebody that became a cosmetologist because he thought it would be a good job. But I thought that was puzzling to me because he never talked about doing hair and makeup, and he never really read magazines. You know, if I was going to be a cosmetologist or a hairstylist, which would be really funny because I don't have hair, I would have dived into that topic because I love the topic so much. So when I was younger, I loved music. I had CDs, I read books, I was in magazines and clubs about music. I was all geeked out on music. And I'm geeked out about everything I do. I'm geeked out about my YouTube channel. I was geeked out about buying this house. When I walked in, it was exactly what I envisioned for myself. That's not to say you won't have some surprises and variations, but your desire opens the veil of potential, particularly if it's a deep, loving desire. Sit with yourself and ask yourself, if you're not clear of what you want, you sit down and you ask yourself, what do I want? And it begins with simple things. It might be that you want a salad, a Caesar salad with croutons. I mean, it's stupid, but that's what you really want. Go give yourself a Caesar salad. Start with little things. I'm always like that. Sometimes, now that I have a bunch of free time, I sort of sit down and think, okay, what do I want? And if nothing comes to me, I take that as an opportunity to meditate. And then something will come to me. Take a walk, make a video, work on your book, call a friend. It comes from inside. And you give yourself what you want, and then reality starts to bring it to you in all these strange, impossible Red Sea parting moments. So your reality reflects the condition of your desires. And a lot of people think they want money, and they end up with a lot of money. It's like, this sucks. That's what you think you want. I want freedom. I want a particular kind of home. I want a particular kind of car. I want a particular lifestyle. I want free time. And make lists. Write it down. So, because you're crafting your story much like an author crafts a story in a book. And a lot of people have writer's block about what they want. Like, I don't know what to write on the page. Well, that's where it starts. Start by writing about not knowing what you want. That's a great way to get this to flow. And you kind of learn what you don't like. You kind of learn what you don't want to. You get a lot of that contrast in it. And then you get really good at it. You get really good. I'm talking about manifestation. But it's a deep desire to do something enthusiastically, lovingly. So start with a blank piece of paper. Don't go out there looking for something that you conform to. Reality will conform to you once you realize what you want. It's clear. Yeah, I want this. I want it to look like this. I want to be the owner of my own business. I want to start a charitable organization, and then put it